We're here at the Orchard in Drumley with the new production of The Muggles with our friend Catherine McKiernan, Ryan von Schmidt, von Schmeit. I don't know how many names you've got. And we have Deirdre here, we've Peter here, we've Alice here. Who's this? Louise and Connor. Now, Catherine, maybe you, Deirdre, you are, she's been on before. You tell us, what's going on here with the Muggles?
It's the Moogles.
Oh, the Moogles.
The Moogles Theatre Company, not the Muggles. So, Mooglers don't Google us, okay? So, we are the Moogles, and tonight's our debut performance of Shooting Stars, written by Alice Lynch, standing at the back there. We have Catherine McKiernan Ryan, Peter Sexton, Louise Callan on lights and sound, and Connor Maguire all the way from Carnlaw. And there's 4 of us are acting in it. It's about 2 relationships and 1 big problem.
So it's about life in general.
Life in general.
So this is the whole production crew and everything.
No, we're missing one. We're missing Aisling Soden. I think she's on her way. Yeah.
What does Aisling do?
Aisling's doing sound and light as well, helping Louise out.
Louise does the lighting. Connor, what's your part in this?
I play Cormac.
Right.
I'm Deirdre's husband, Amy. She plays Amy. And essentially what kind of we're going through is we've made an agreement before we got married that we weren't going to have kids, that were very career oriented, and at some point down the way I've started to get a little bit broody and I want to have kids.
That's broody for those of you
broody.
watching in Cavanese.
This side of the border.
Yeah, broody.
So that's essentially we're kind of just going along, and then when the talk of children comes up, that's when the fireworks kind of start.
Is it a kitchen sink drama, so to speak?
It's
I
think that would simplify it a wee bit, though, because it's kind of got a kind of fantastic element to it, where these 2 characters are able to communicate.
I know, but
through
tell
the,
us what is it?
the
Through
medium,
the wall.
through the medium of theatre.
We never actually look at each other whilst talking. We have conversations with each other, but it's not like full on face to face.
All right. So it's like
but you'll just have
really
to
is like real life.
talk to hand. Yeah.
And Deirdre, you play?
I play a character called Amy.
Catherine, what are you?
Abby, and Peter's my husband in it, and he plays Peter.
Yeah, it's not a stretch, but
And Peter, this is
very first time for me now to do
Good
it.
man.
So I'm surrounded by professionals here, so I'm all right.
well, they're all experienced thespians, and I said thespians,
That's right.
which is another term for acting. Jerry that owns the Orchard now, he's a very good actor as well, but we get him in a bit later
Yes.
on.
He's 24 hours.
Alice, you're going to tell us where you got the idea from for all this, and what's your inspiration? Alice is also in the Mass Rock. We'll be having a chat with Tara, but we had a chat with Alice before. Alice, where'd you get the idea from?
I could make something up, but I don't know. It just came to me.
It just came to you, like you get this inspiration from.
I just write.
Yeah.
I just write, and sometimes something comes out of it, and
Oh,
a lot of the time it doesn't.
I'm
A
just
lot of
writer.
the time it doesn't.
As you
But
do.
this just came together.
And who cast it? Who said when you obviously had readings and stuff like that?
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who cast it? Deirdre probably said I won that bit anyway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Alice
Get in there.
cast,
I
yeah.
know, it was Alice. Alice cast.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
And then we put an ad in the Cell for Men Wanted, and
Yes.
Alice got lots of very interesting
Lots
phone calls.
Bad title, but
Yeah.
interesting phone calls.
Yeah.
Men wanted,
yeah.
huh?
Men Wanted, yeah.
Did you do that?
Of course, I rang it. So still texting her. Still no word.
Yeah.
I rang her and she seen me say title low. She said I want men. Right, tell us when it's on and where it's on.
We're starting here tonight in the Orchard, 8 o'clock, and we're on every night until Thursday. So come along.
Including Thursday.
It's 1 hour long, so it's nice pace.
Shooting Stars,
Serious.
and
Be careful what you wish for.
Muggles.
The Moogles.
Well, I was just checking. Were you listening? The Moogles.
Yeah.
Google the Moogles.
Yeah.
Don't forget, come and see it in the Orchard all this week throughout the Fleadh. Very, very welcome. Jerry and his staff will be there to welcome you. Nice hot toddy as you walk in the door.
Yeah.
Yes, they will. Thanks, Paul.
I'm joined now by Conor Maguire, and Conor from Carnlough,
Carnlough, yeah.
County Antrim, and he's in Cavan for the Fleadh, and he's doing a part of the Fringe Fleadh thing that we do cover, but this is a really different one. Conor here is doing a one-man show on Oscar Wilde. Tell us about it, Conor.
The piece is called De Profundis. It was a letter that Wilde wrote when he was in prison. He spent 2 years in prison he was doing hard labour. It was when he was put away for kind of obscene acts with other men. And during that time, he essentially had reached the peak of his fame. 1895, he was put into prison, and he was put into hard labour. If you imagine, for somebody who was used to the high life, caviar and champagne.
And 1895 is not 1,000 years ago. You know,
No.
when you put it into perspective, like. You
Well,
know.
exactly. I mean, it was illegal back then to, to be homosexual. So he, for the first, I think it was almost a year, he was passed from Wandsworth into Redden, and in Redden he found a sympathetic sort of head of the prison who finally kind of allowed him to have some writing materials. And during that time then, he, instead of writing novels or writing anything else, he wrote this letter to his lover Bosie, Boswell Douglas, Alfred Boswell Douglas, who was the son of the Marquess of Queensberry. And what happened then was, I suppose really, their relationship died really.
Wilde was married at this stage.
He was married with 2 children, but he had already begun kind of his dalliances with men quite a while before that. And I think most of the people who were with him in Oxford were quite sure of his, his sexuality. Exactly. So as I say, this is a piece that I don't think it's ever been performed before. Well, as I'm doing it, it's never been performed. I adapted it myself for stage, and I direct it myself, and I'm performing myself. So it's a 50,000 word letter, but I've edited it down to about 45 minutes.
50,000 word letter.
Yeah, it's it's the size of a novel. It's an epic
He
piece
loved
of
that
work.
man.
Well, he did,
Well, you know.
and he tried to explain everything about their relationship, and then everything about what he was going through. And Bosie hadn't been in contact with him when he was in prison. He, more or less cut off all contact, and that was incredibly hurtful for Oscar, because he, Bosie knew what he was going through and what the suffering that he was experiencing in there. So a lot of it is not really. The first part of the letter is directed at Bosie, and the second part of the letter goes more philosophical, more profound, and is more general. It's not kind of just pointed. There are points parts of the piece that he was sniding and jagging a bit at Bosie, but the rest of it is beautiful poetry almost. The way Wilde wrote was.
So
incredible.
Bosie was his muse, so to speak.
He was, but there are parts of the letter where he says, that he regrets the relationship because it wasn't a relationship whose sole purpose was the creation of beautiful things. He was, he was an aesthetic. He was the founder. Well, one of the big sort of players in the aesthetic movement, and all of that was about beauty, the beauty of life, and the beauty of art. And while he was with Bosie, he found himself. He wasn't being as creative. He wasn't writing as much.
Yes.
He was losing his. It was a very sexual relationship, and that sort of distracted him from the good work. So it's for me it's a really interesting piece. I was always interested in Oscar Wilde, and everybody knows the importance of being earnest and Salome and Dorian Gray, all the big works, but very few people know this. And as I say, it's a unique piece in Ireland as far as I know. So yeah, you get along and you'll find out a bit more about the Slieve Rossa. Yeah, I'm doing it out in the beer garden in the Rossa. We've created a bit of a cell out there, bit of a prison cell with the plank bed that he slept
Are you in prison
on.
garb? Was there prison garb then?
Well, yes, it's kind of just loose linen and linen trousers and a kind of dishevelled shirt.
Yeah.
So, as I say, it's on 5 o'clock now on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 o'clock. It lasts about 45 minutes, and then on Saturday and Sunday it's on at 1 o'clock, just before the session really kicks off. So it's only €5.
Yeah.
Very, very cheap for the
Great
quality of the performance you're getting.
The
you know?
great entertainment.
Indeed.
Slieve Rossa there, well, everybody knows where it is, and it's just there at the end of College Street there.
Bottom of the Barrack Hill.
Bottom of the Barrack Hill, and the traffic lights. There's only one set of lights in the
Indeed.
town, so nobody can make a mistake. Conor Maguire, ladies and gentlemen, don't miss it. Oscar Wilde in the Slieve Rossa. All this week. Go into the Rossa and just check it out, and you'll see it. Promises to be fantastic. Right, we're here in McCall's and Bridge Street in Cavan, where Victor's done the second cut. I'd like to warn you all, we're lucky this isn't smelly telly, because Charlie here has a bit of a... You all right, Charlie?
I'm flying, yeah.
You're flying, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm flying. I'm flying. I'm flying.
He's ring rusty.
Charlie's just back from India with the lovely Louise, who as soon as you got off the plane said, "Wick!"
No feeding the animals before the performance. You know that. No eating before the performance.
Yeah,
I'm not
so
going near
we're
that
ready,
mic.
we're ready.
Yeah, we're ready to roll. Are we on yet? Oh, no, sorry.
We'll let Seamus...
Yeah.
Well, you're pretty
Are you
quiet.
letting him talk
Yeah,
again?
I'm quiet.
Yeah, let him know, let him
The
talk.
last time we were on
Yeah,
you.
we couldn't get a word in edgeways.
I'm mad.
Sick.
No, leave him out this time.
Okay, right.
What's that, some sort of mantra?
Yeah, but
He's giving odds, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
That's a Crostoni, that's a Chantilly you're thinking of.
He was away. He was touching what do you call it? Dayatollah.
Dalai Lama.
Well, I say I did see on Facebook that Louise said we're going to the Dalai Lama tomorrow, and he thought it was a newspaper.
Hang on a second. All right.
You all right now, Charlie?
I'll be there now. Hey, Paul, how's things?
You're
Good to see you
welcome
again.
back.
Good to see you.
What's going on here?
Good,
You're
good,
doing
good,
what's
good.
going on?
Yeah.
Tell the
We're on
people
tonight.
what we're doing.
We're on tonight here in McCall's. First night, the preview night, yeah. So if it's no good, people have only themselves to blame for coming. But we're right here until Friday, and then we're up in the Rugby Club Saturday, Sunday.
Seamus is actually walking him from behind. You couldn't see the hand movement.
And Tommy's on the other side.
Chizzy's been away.
So again, the
His
rugby
ring
club
has
is
got
when
that big.
Saturday and Sunday night.
Saturday and Sunday,
Yeah.
but you're here all week
Yeah.
from tonight, which is the
From tonight.
13th.
13th.
Yeah,
Oh, is
you
it
said
lucky
yeah.
for us?
Yeah,
Lucky
looking for
for
some
us.
13.
Seamus, the second cut. What's the story with the second cut?
Yeah, it's just sort of a continuation.
With the compliments to each
Sorry.
other. You
Yeah,
have
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Psychological.
It's actually we're dealing with green issues in this
Or
production.
brownish.
When Charlie came home from India, he was very green looking, and now he's a whiter pale of
green.
shade of brown. He's very nervous.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is the worst timing you could have come in to interview someone, Paul, in fairness. Come on.
Last time.
Fairness now.
Yeah.
He was with the Dalai Lama.
Come on.
You
I'm trying to, I was about to do me chi meditation.
He's all relaxed and all
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
He's almost floating. Gave a plane
What's a bit of
style.
that, man? I want to
It's great. Yeah, it's good. It's good. What?
do a bit of the pre-acting stuff. What was
6 thick thistle sticks.
Fuck.
Oh, that's hairspray. The woman at the hairspray does that. Seamus,
Yeah.
what happens to Victor in this?
Hey,
Give
he
us a
gets.
couple of hints.
Well, he's.
Victor comes out
he-
of the closet.
He's taught. He's taught a few lessons in this one. Yeah, poor Victor wouldn't be the greenest, as in terms of environmentally friendly, but he's taught a lesson by a few certain characters that come around the house, including the man above. Gets a visitation. Yeah. No, we were going to replace the man above with the Dalai Lama, but we hadn't time to write it in.
No.
Yeah. And as Charlie only came home on Friday, and this is Monday, anything could happen.
Tip top. Yeah.
It's
We've
very
been-
unlike his backside. It's tight.
This is the first show that has ever been rehearsed over Skype.
Yeah.
An email.
We were teleconference to play at the trial. Yeah.
So it's gone from Skype to shite. Simple as that.
Oh, a good one at last. I'm delighted for you, Paul.
Well, that's it. Catch the lads, McCall's in the back, all this week. Make sure you get down to see it. McCall's in Bridge Street. and the rugby club.
The rugby club
Rugby
Saturday
club
and
this
Sunday.
Saturday and
maybe
Sunday.
And the
Friday.
Twits on Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Where's the Twits on?
Twits is on at the rugby club on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 3 p.m.
Which brings us nicely to our quiz. Guess who's playing the Twits? So, if you know who's playing the Twits, send your entries to Tommy and Charlie competition, care of Seamus O'Rourke.
Yeah.
Yeah.